Most people shopping for all-terrain tires are looking at a pretty serious purchase, and it is easy to get pulled in by aggressive tread patterns instead of how the tire actually behaves day to day. In this category, prices can climb from roughly $800 to well over $1,500 for a full set, so picking the wrong one gets expensive fast. That is why this list focuses on options that stood out in independent testing and in long-term owner feedback, especially for drivers who split time between commuting, bad weather, weekend trails, and the occasional towing job. We are counting down 5 all-terrain tires that appear to balance real-world usability with off-road confidence. For everyday drivers, that balance is usually what matters most. Stay with me because the best overall pick is not just tough in the dirt. It may also be the smartest choice for wet roads and daily driving. Number 5, we have the Goodyear Wrangler Duratrac RT. The original Duratrac built a huge following over the years, especially among truck owners who wanted serious off-road bite without stepping all the way into mud terrain territory. But it also developed a reputation for getting loud on pavement as the miles added up. The newer RT version does a better job addressing that problem. Tighter internal tread blocks and improved siping help it feel noticeably calmer on the highway than the older version. That matters if your truck has to handle a work commute all week and not just look good at the trailhead on Saturday. Goodyear did not strip away the tire's tougher side, though. The big shoulder lugs and deep voids are still designed to clear mud well, and the Kevlar reinforced tread is meant to add protection against cuts and punctures when the terrain gets rough. Wet weather confidence is also a strong part of the package, with better stability being one of the key improvements over the earlier design. Snow performance sounds solid too, especially in packed snow and slush, helped by the 3-peak mountain snowflake rating. The trade-off is that many sizes currently come in load range E, so the ride can feel firmer than some drivers want, and pricing around $250 to $300 per tire puts it on the premium side. Still, if your daily routine includes towing, construction sites, or rough job access roads, this one makes a strong case. That practical toughness is exactly why it earns a spot here. And if you want a tire that leans a little more toward style without giving up everyday manners, number 4 is where the list gets interesting. Coming in at number 4 is the Nitto Grappler, a tire aimed at drivers who want their truck to look tougher than a typical all-terrain setup without living with the full compromise of a mud tire. Right away, this one stands out visually. The tread is aggressive, the shoulder blocks are chunky, and the overall design gives off that lifted truck, desert-ready vibe. What keeps it practical is the way it manages noise. Over the long haul, the Ridge Grappler delivers mud terrain looks while staying much closer to all-terrain noise levels. That is a big win for daily use, because the whole point of an everyday tire is that you do not dread long highway stretches or have to talk over the hum at cruising speed. Off pavement, the Ridge Grappler does more than just look the part. It handles sand, rocky trails, and muddy conditions well, and the stone ejectors help keep rocks from getting lodged deep in the tread. Those details matter more than flashy sidewall styling when you actually use your truck outside city streets. There are compromises here. The biggest one is the lack of a treadwear warranty, which can make the value calculation less straightforward. Snow performance also sounds less consistent than some of the other tires on this list, with mixed owner reports depending on conditions. At roughly $280 to $350 per tire, it is not an impulse buy either. But if your priority is a more aggressive look paired with road manners that still feel livable every day, the Ridge Grappler earns its place. Moving into the top 3, the next tire shifts the focus from attitude to all-around balance. To number 3, the Toyo Open Country AT3 continues to be one of the most balanced options in the category. This tire shows up on a huge mix of trucks, SUVs, and Jeeps for a reason. Instead of chasing one standout trait at the expense of everything else, it seems built to perform consistently across the conditions most owners actually see. Toyo reworked this model with more focus on wet and winter capability than the previous generation. That shows up in its severe snow rating, improved rain grip, and the kind of predictable road behavior that everyday drivers tend to notice right away. It stays composed on pavement, gravel, mud, and snow instead of excelling in just one narrow scenario. Durability is one of the strongest arguments in its favor. Many owners see 60,000 miles or more with proper rotations, and the warranty coverage is competitive depending on whether you are buying P-metric or LT sizes. For people trying to justify the cost of a premium all-terrain tire, that kind of long-term consistency matters almost as much as traction itself. On the road, the Open Country AT3 feels comfortable and reasonably quiet, though not whisper silent. There's also a typical fuel economy penalty compared with highway tires, and wet grip can fade a bit later in the tire's life. Even with that caveat, it remains a strong fit for drivers who want one tire that can handle commuting, weather, and weekend trail duty without feeling specialized. But if you want something with an even stronger off-road reputation, the runner-up has been setting that standard for years. At number 2, the BFGoodrich KO2 still carries one of the biggest reputations in the all-terrain world. Even with newer competitors pushing hard, this tire remains a benchmark because it built its name on real durability, strong off-road grip, and year-round confidence in places where weather and terrain can turn ugly in a hurry. One reason the KO2 stays relevant is its off-road heritage. Its body-inspired development shows up in the reinforced sidewall design. BFGoodrich calls it core guard, and the point is simple. This tire is meant to take abuse. If your routes regularly include rocks, ruts, gravel, and rougher surfaces that can punish weaker tires, the KO2 makes a very compelling argument. Strong performance in snow and dirt helps explain why owners in colder states keep trusting it year-round. For everyday use, that matters because an all-terrain tire is only helpful if it still feels dependable on the drive to work, the school run, or a winter highway trip. Long-term durability also remains one of its calling cards, with many drivers reporting 40,000 to 50,000 miles depending on terrain and driving style. The downside is that the same toughness that makes the KO2 so respected can make it feel firmer on pavement, especially in heavier load ranges. Wet road traction also may not be as strong as some newer rivals. So while this is still a proven choice, it is not automatically the best fit for every commuter. If your top priority is rugged dependability with serious off-road credibility, it is hard to argue against. But for the best overall mix of wet road safety, winter confidence, and day-to-day value, the number one tire edge is ahead. The number one, the Falken Wildpeak AT3W, takes the top spot because it delivers one of the broadest all-around packages for everyday drivers. A lot of all-terrain tires ask you to accept one major weakness in exchange for one standout strength. This one keeps those compromises smaller, which is exactly what most people want when they only plan to run a single set of tires year-round. Wet road confidence is a huge reason this tire stands out. The AT3W is one of the strongest all-terrain options in rainy conditions, with strong braking, solid resistance to hydroplaning, and predictable handling. For daily driving, that kind of behavior can matter more than extreme mud performance, because most owners spend far more time dealing with pavement and weather than crawling through deep ruts. The name itself points to what Falken was aiming for: wear, winter, and wet. The silica-rich tread compound, the 3-peak mountain snowflake rating, and strong owner praise from colder climates all reinforce that identity. Warranty coverage also strengthens the value argument, with up to 65,000 miles in non-LT sizes and 60,000 miles in LT applications. When long-term cost is part of the conversation, that gives this tire an edge. It is not a dedicated mud tire, and that is part of why it works so well for so many people. The AT3W handles dirt, gravel, light mud, and rocky weekend trails with confidence, but it does not punish you for using it as a commuter tire the rest of the time. Road noise stays manageable, durability looks strong in real-world use, and pricing generally lands in a competitive range for what you are getting. If you want one set of all-terrain tires that can handle commuting, road trips, winter weather, and regular weekend adventure without feeling like a compromise every Monday morning, this is the clearest overall winner in the list. So if you want the best overall value with strong wet and winter confidence, the Falken Wildpeak AT3W is the one to beat. If rugged off-road durability matters most, the BFGoodrich KO2 is still a proven favorite. For a more balanced middle ground, the Toyo Open Country AT3 remains an easy recommendation, while the Nitto Grappler and Goodyear Wrangler Duratrac RT each serve more specific needs depending on whether you care more about looks, towing, or tougher work use. The most important thing is matching the tire to how you actually drive, not just how aggressive it looks in a parking lot. If this breakdown helped narrow things down, subscribe for more real-world gear rankings and practical buying guides. And if you have run any of these tires yourself, your experience will probably tell the real story after the miles start adding up.